Welcome to a brand new season of TVGP's Critical Misses, the show where Moon and I are catching up on all the media hits we missed. We got a hot season. We got our second season of musicals this time. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hi, I think. I don't know.
We had a good time. First season of musicals. We discovered a new love of music and musicals and stage performances and classic French novels. all the good stuff.
Who knew Boston would be a Les Mis super fan?
Certainly not me. That is for sure.
Just really quick, by the way, the only good part of Les Mis is like the first half of that movie. The second half can go to hell.
Yeah, the second half drags a little bit in like a 3.5 hour performance.
As soon as the young guy shows up, it's like, go away. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm done with this movie now.
We're good here. If you are not a patron at the $5 or higher tier over at patreon.com/E1M1,
those ones are numbers.
You didn't hear our discussions around season 20. We do have the Critical Misses production meeting. I know that sounds a little bit stuffy and Excel spreadsheety, but it's actually
definitely Excel spreadsheety, but it's not the way you think it is.
I mean, it's still us, so there's an Excel spreadsheet, of course. But these episodes are really good. If you haven't listened to them or you're not a patron, it's only $5 a month. It's not $5 per episode, and we release like 10 or 12 episodes on Patreon every month. Like that's above and beyond all of the other stuff we put out. So,
and the early access alone, because then you're actually talking to us about things that is closer to the time we recorded it, and we can remember it, kind of thing.
Probably will remember it.
Possibly, maybe remember it. Who knows?
Right. So, if you're a patron, go listen to the production meeting. It comes out between seasons, in that week between seasons. If you're not a patron, please go sign up. Go check it out. There's a ton of stuff, exclusive and extra and early access stuff over there. So we're going to cover 5 musicals for this season, and we're going to start with a classic. We're going to watch a version of the Phantom of the Opera. And I specify that because I didn't realize there's like 30 different film versions of Phantom of the Opera stretching like 100 years. So we decided to watch none of those. We're going to watch the Phantom of the Opera at the Royal Albert Hall from 2011. So this is a mostly stage performed 25th anniversary presentation of the Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Yeah. So I haven't dug too much into that because we like to if this is the first season you're watching, we do like to go into these as blind as possible if we haven't seen this before. And have you seen anything of Phantom of the Opera before?
Yes. So I believe the order for this season was pretty great. I have seen Phantom of the Opera, but I've only seen the movie version once, I believe, which is the one that has Jared Butler in it. So take from that what you will. This is going to be the big test for me because I don't like live music at all.
Okay. Like live music in general, or are we just talking about like musical theater performances?
In general. If you have, unless it's a completely redone version of the song, like if it's just the same song but live, I hate it.
And you're not there. Like if you're there, it's like, yeah, I'm in a concert. It's great. That's a different experience.
I've been to one concert in my life, and that was a great concert with a terrible after effects, which is to say, I went to see Tool, and the concert was amazing.
Yeah.
The getting in a car crash on the way home, not so much.
Less great, yes. We'll go to a Nine Inch Nails concert someday. That'll set you right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. I won't know any of the songs.
It's great.
Just
You'll
the
know
way it should be.
It's all the hits, you know. Okay, so this is kind of a test for you.
Yeah, because a good example of this is when you get like a special edition of an album, like a 25th anniversary or a 20th or a 10th or a 5th or a 2-year anniversary based on how quick
the
bands
tour
break
edition.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that version of the album. Like I would much rather listen to the studio produced, nice and clean version of the song.
Right. Or give you like a live acoustic version or something like that. Like give you something different.
That's the example I like. So Snuff by Slipknot is one of my favorite songs. Snuff by Corey Taylor live at London is even better. But that's him with an acoustic guitar and nothing else.
Gotcha.
Like there's nothing else in there. Spoiler alert for the Critical Misses covers season, by the way. I'm just saying.
Right.
Like that is an incredible version of that song. I think that is a better version of that song. But any like, oh, this is the the gold edition with the B-side tracks in it, and one of them is a concert one from Download or whatever. It's just like, no, I don't care. I'm not interested in that kind of thing. So like, this is going to be a test for me because it's like, is this going to be better than Jared Butler singing it, quote unquote singing it, kind of thing?
It's certainly going to be different.
Yeah, it's like, okay, maybe I've been to 2 concerts because I did go see Hugh Jackman live at MSG, so...
Okay, well, you gotta go see that.
Well, yeah, that technically counts for a concert, but he did do a lot of, like, songs and stuff like that, but that's also Hugh Jackman, and it's not, like...
Right. It's the Hugh Jackman experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, this is gonna be an interesting test, because it's like... At the end of the day, do I say, yeah, this is great, you should watch it, or do I say, yeah, this is great, I prefer the movie?
Sure. Well, and it's really interesting because the season is bookended by monstrous classics of musicals, and I'm not going to spoil the 5th episode if you're listening and watching along with us, because Moon hasn't seen probably the most famous musical of all time. But
arguably, yes. And that was speaking of patreon.com/E1M1, that was a fantastic moment in the production meeting.
Yep, that is definitely one of those like, whoop, that's what we're doing now. But I haven't seen Phantom of the Opera, so we're sort of bookending with sort of flipped opposites here. And I feel like, look, Phantom of the Opera is like a stone cold classic. Obviously, it's like Andrew Lloyd Webber's probably most or second most famous musical, like this or Cats. He's got like Jesus Christ Superstar and stuff like that.
Is it Cats? Well, I think of our generation, it was probably Superstar. I think these days it's Cats.
Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat is up there too. Like there's a couple he's got in there that are pretty big. Evita, of course, but I've never seen that. But I feel like this is gonna be one of those that I know so little about going in, but I know the cultural touchstones. Like when you want to make fun of like a musical or an opera or something, you put somebody in that half mask and everybody's like, ah, yes, musicals. You know, like you have a giant chandelier fall in a musical and you're like, ah, yes, Phantom of the Opera. Wink.
So you knew about that at least.
I did know about that. I know about the, like, I think I get the... So here's what I think I've osmosed over the decades for this is this guy gets disfigured and then he is haunting the crew.
With quotation marks.
Yes, haunting, sorry, yes. His Phantom is haunting all of that in quotes. Like the crew that's working in the opera house to they're like practicing additional stuff, and then he like kidnaps a lady who's on the musical crew and like falls in love with her and is teaching her or something, and then I think he gets his revenge, and then I think it ends. So,
okay,
I think that's what I've grabbed. But this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to watch this. Is it feels like it's gonna be one of those where it's like 30 times in this like 2 hour and change performance can be like, oh, yes, gotcha. It's I've seen 20 other movies make fun of that. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, that will likely happen. I will say, of all the musicals we've ever done, and potentially including this season will do, this might be one of the darkest in thematic and things that happen during it. It's pretty messed up in a couple of places.
Okay.
Which I'm going to be interested to see what your take on that side of things is going to be.
Right.
I do have to ask, can you name any of the songs?
Oh man,
because there's two. There's two that everybody probably does know.
There's the famous one that's like the Phantom of the Opera is something.
Yeah.
He's inside my something.
Yes, which I believe that song is called The Phantom of the Opera. So
okay, there's the other super famous one that every time I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, Phantom of the Opera, and I never remember what it's called.
Do you want to know what it's called?
Sure.
It's Music of the Night.
Music of the Night. Right. The Gloria Estefan song. No, don't send me email. Don't send me email. Right. Okay. So yes, those are the two like famous enough.
Two big ones, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a couple more in there that are like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Like, of course I've heard that.
Like Les Mis has the Lady song, which I don't know the name of off the top of my head.
Oh god, yeah. Now that you mention it, it's totally out of my brain.
Ooh. But honestly, I would say my favorite song from Les Mis is probably "Look Down." Like, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. It's a great song.
Such a banger of a start.
It's a great opener. I'm trying to think of what else. This is one of those movies that and musicals and kind of plays that I'm really excited to watch because it is so famous and because people seem to genuinely really love it. And I'm sure there's stuff in there that's, it came out in the 80s. The play was in the 80s, so I'm sure there's stuff that's sort of like, it's 2023. That's great. But, you sort of go into anything like this sort of knowing that beforehand.
Yeah, and it's one thing. Again, this will come up during the last episode of this season. It's a thing that is like this is an old thing. Some things may have aged well, some things may have aged horrifically.
Right.
That's what I'm saying when it's like I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of certain things in this movie. Like, do you? Because first time I saw this, I did have to have some things in it explained to me.
Okay.
It's like, why is this scene like this kind of thing? It's like, because this is happening. It's like, okay.
Okay. Sure.
That's not great.
Right, where you're like, this is, okay.
It's an allegory for what you said? Great.
Right. Vampires are an allegory for what now? And it's like, boy. Great.
Yup.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly, I'm curious what you think. I'm curious, like, I think we can probably agree this might have the most iconic imagery of any musical ever.
I mean, at least just like looking at the poster, it's just like, why is that dude wearing half a mask? Is that a mask? That's probably a mask. One of those very striking images.
Because I honestly can't think of another musical ever that has a similar iconography that lasts throughout time. Like,
the only thing I can think of is Les Mis is that poster with the drawn the girl holding the flag, but that's not even like
in the movie.
That's not even like in the movie or in the play or anything. Like, that's not the play, but this is the Phantom of the Opera. That's what you're going and seeing. Quote unquote Phantom.
When I was a child, this is a hard left swinger side. I was at a friend's house, and a giant moth came in.
Okay.
And we sprayed it with bug spray to try and get. This thing was like as big as my hand. Now, I was a child at the time,
real big
so a big boy. So we sprayed it with bug spray. It went still for about 3 minutes, and then got up and started flying around again, which scared the crap out of me. And me and my friend at the time, we referred to it as Phantom of the Mothra because it would have a half-melted face because of the...
Great.
I hadn't even seen the thing, and I was still referencing it.
Right. I feel like at that age, we were probably watching enough Simpsons, and they've probably referenced it at least a half dozen times, where you're like, I don't... This must be something big that I'm not getting, but that mask, they made fun of that mask. All right. Yeah. All right. I think that'll wrap it up for our kind of anticipation here. Are you ready to go watch the film?
Not in the slightest, but sure.
All right, we'll be right back.
Boy.
Welcome back. We watched the film performance thing, multimedia experience that is Phantom of the Opera at the Royal Albert Hall.
That works, I guess.
Yeah. I felt like I knew a lot about this musical until it opened with nearly no singing. Yeah, and I was just like, okay, this seemingly is the only part of this musical that I had not heard about before, but I like that it starts with almost a dialogue from one character singing of like a bar from another character, and then you kind of get the grand opening, which...
So they auction the chandelier, whatever. I love... So I had to crank my volume because the dialogue was kind of low.
Okay.
In the sound mix, it wasn't bad by any means. It's just like, okay, it's a little low, so we're gonna just turn it up a little bit. And oh boy, when they shout "gentlemen" and illuminate the chandelier, and that first Phantom of the Opera note hits,
rattling your bones,
so loud, dude.
So I also really like the incredibly on the nose of the chandelier's lot 666. And I was just like, it's not going to be... Oh, it is. That's the giant thing on the... So, this is the thing that's interesting. So, we're watching the Royal Albert Hall performance, the like 25th anniversary sort of celebration thing. And what I didn't realize going into this, because this is going to color a lot of this performance, is that the Royal Albert Hall is small. Like,
yes,
incredibly so. So
it's not a stadium, but it's large. It's a large theater, but it's not like a stadium. It is a legendary theater in England. It's
been around for over 150 years, something like 200 years.
Yeah, it might be older than America, to be honest. Let's face it.
I mean, most things are, but you know. So what I thought was interesting is going through and watching some other performances of Phantom of the Opera after the fact, because everybody and their mom has like shot, camera footage. They're like huddling their camera and like shooting this. It's interesting to see how they have kind of molded this performance around the Albert Hall to kind of meet the space needs. So the chandelier doesn't crackle and spring to life and like lurch off of the stage on this. It's already up in the ceiling and doesn't really move throughout the performance, which is kind of interesting. And it's a cool looking chandelier, which I think you need to have in this musical, this play thing.
So like my second or third note is already, oh, I already forgot that it was a musical within a musical, essentially. This is
Right.
Inception of musicals.
Right. There's like two or three musicals in this. What? Sorry, a musical, an opera, all of that in a musical. But man, like you said, as soon as those first notes come in, you're like, ah, yes, Phantom of the Opera. Like, if you've never seen any Phantom stuff before, you're like, yeah, that's like the Phantom song. Like, that's the big showpiece thing. Also ran across someone on YouTube that says, like, DAE realized that there are electric guitars in the intro of this, and somehow it works. It's like, oh boy. Goodness, okay. Yeah, you're not ready for music, I guess.
There's also an organ and synthesizer in there too. Like,
yeah.
one of it.
And I want to mention something here that I thought was really interesting, the way that they addressed the size of the hall here, that they have those LED screens on the back of the stage there that's not only showing, we see it, we'll talk about it here in a minute at the Hannibal performance, but I really like that the orchestra is above all of that stuff as opposed to being in front of the stage. And while the orchestra is playing and they're doing the chandelier lighting and all that stuff, the Phantom is looming in the background playing the organ part on the LED screens in the back. Like, I think that's a really cool... He's always looming in the background on those screens in some part. And I think that's a really cool touch of, like, not having him just be this disembodied voice, not having him be kind of in the rafters, but he's kind of always there and always watching. And I think that's a cool touch.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure if the orchestra was always up there in every performance at Albert Hall for every play.
Oh, sure.
But I really like the fact that it also makes them a part of this, as we discussed. It is the musical within a musical kind of thing.
Right.
Like, it's very much a case of, like, when they tell the maestro to start playing stuff, they look up at the orchestra.
That's true. Yep. Yeah. They get to be a character in it. It's a
nice
for
little
once.
thing.
Yeah.
Instead of, being the usual stuff. I do feel bad for the people who play the instruments that the Phantom insults later, but okay.
That's true. It's true. And then I like the kind of tonal whiplash of this big, grand kind of orchestra and organ and electric thing going straight into this very classic operatic Hannibal thing where she's holding the head and kind of singing the standard the opera stuff, and it's just like, oh boy, that's kind of intense in this very classic way. But I think for me, I like how they handled the sets, like the sets in the screens, and then the one set part falling down.
The bridge.
Yeah, and I was pretty impressed by the actors being able to sell this level of terror that they've been living on almost immediately. Like, don't talk bad about him. He sees everything, he hears everything, he's been terrorizing us for we don't know how long. Like, box 5 needs to stay open, gotta do this, don't forget his salary. Like, they lay it all out really well early on, and I'm like, it's pretty good. They're terrified.
It's new ownership, which is a very good logical reason of why you're suddenly getting all of this backstory about the theater. It's because new owners are taking over, and management is basically like, yo, you might want to do this just as a heads up.
Right, and they're like 20,000 francs a month? Come on.
My guy is paid to haunt a place. Like, yes, please. Can
I
get that
living
job?
The millennial dream. Screw Stardew Valley. I want to be the OG.
Yeah, can I haunt this basement and like get paid for it, please?
That's right.
At patreon.com/E1M1.
That's right, the ones are numbers. But I like that they sell that really well, and I like the two different versions of sliminess that the new managers are. You have the comb over guy who's the kind of like the kind of money grubbing one, and then you have the sort of thinner guy that's kind of the conniving, just get it done kind of guy, and I like the I like those too. But
I will say, as a European here, hearing the word francs is very strange to me.
Yeah,
because France, like most of the European Union, switched over to the euro.
Right.
So it is extremely weird for me to hear
old money
francs and be like, "Oh, that was from when I was a kid. I remember that. I had francs in my hand at one point. That was great."
Right. So we get pretty quickly introduced to everybody on the crew, including Christine, who is our kind of main female lead here, who I think does a really great job throughout the entirety of this thing.
So, hashtag trivia moment here.
Sure.
From what I understand, most of this cast is built up from like people who have performed it religiously in London, across the world, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I think it's like the kind of best of the best, sort of like the who's who of
Christine, the lady who plays Christine, was actually performing the same role in the Phantom at the London Broadway showings. When the person who was originally cast to play her had to drop out because she had a virus that affected her voice. So boy. She was already doing Phantom at the Broadway side.
Wow.
And then ended up having to go and do this one over the course of 3 nights so they could do the whole, tapings and showings kind of thing.
That's wild.
It's kind of cool, though. It's like, last minute replacements. Because apparently on the DVD version, there is extras where it has the original cast member doing the rehearsals and showing how they organized everything.
Interesting.
She had to bounce, so this other lady stepped in, which it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, interesting piece of trivia about Phantom. Tomorrow, at the time of this recording, will be the final performance of Phantom on Broadway after 14,000 performances over the last 27 or so years. So
wow,
that's wild. So lot of interesting Phantom stuff happening all of a sudden.
Yes, apparently.
So they let Christine audition for the part. She does really well. She runs into
how she's taught,
right, which is
I don't know,
a thing we'll get into pretty immediately. Of my teacher, I don't know, is teaching me in my dreams? ? Which is a thing. And then she runs into Raoul, who is the opera's new patron, who is a childhood friend of Christine. And they kind of
little Lottie.
Yes, little Lottie. That's right. So they kind of reconnect.
I think they do that after the first big song, which is Angel of Music plays while she's in the changing rooms. Yeah,
because there's kind of there's a back and forth where he's saying hey, let's go out, let's reconnect, and she's like, you can't. I cannot understate that
there are rules.
There are rules. He will not stand for any disrespect. You have to take this seriously. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Don't worry about it. Get your hat. Let's go. And while he's off, then we have Angel of Music, which is kind of the kidnapping, hypnotizing part of Phantom.
So in the original short story, the Phantom drugs her in this sequence.
Okay.
In the movie version, which I've seen, the 04 version, I think it was, which I have some notes on that 04 version that we need to talk about.
I have seen some clips that we will talk about later.
And they show the walls melting as they're going through the corridors to the underground. They literally melt the walls, which is a cool effect to show that she has been drugged. You might disagree with me here, but I wrote this down and it hasn't left my head since I finished writing it, and throughout the rest of the movie. The Phantom of the Opera is giving me some very serious, nice guy vibes.
100%. He's like the most toxic, nice guy you can get. Like, I think the way that they hand wave this away is that like the leader of the dancers, I will never remember her name for the rest of my life.
Mistress Grist or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Oh, sorry, Madame Giri. I just saw it here in the notes. She explains way later that he's like an architect and a genius and this and like a hypnotist and a magician and all that stuff. So to me, it seems like he is hypnotizing her in this version specifically, to bring her along with him. But it's still not good. Like it is still like a object of my obsession sort of thing, which is
the rough. Whole "how dare you not be appreciative of everything I do for you."
Yeah,
like.
You know, the hauntings and the killings. How do you not appreciate that?
Like, the whole time. I've made several times, I've made the note, there's nice guy Phantom again, like, showing up. Yeah, what did you think of Angel of Music? We need to talk about the song.
Yeah, to me, Angel of Music is kind of the first big song here, because you have, like, the Hannibal rehearsal, and you have, like, Think of Me, and you have some of these other songs there that I think are good, but Angel of Music for me, after the overture, feels like the first kind of big tentpole song in here, and it's great.
I feel like there's three, and they literally happen back to back to back.
I don't know. I think there's like 5 or 6 songs that I really like from this, and I think Angel of Music is probably the first big one. And like, boy, the dude that plays Phantom in this is really good. Like his voice is, I think, fantastic, and I think he does that switching between like, come on, baby, it's all good. Like, don't worry about it. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Leave? Like, I could kill you. Anyways, it's just like, wait, what? Like, he dances that line and does that swing between like the anger and the attempting at romance really well, as like horribly gross as it consistently is.
Yes,
but. Yeah, I think Angel of Music is really great. I think it's a really great introduction to him as a character.
Yeah, my 3 favorite songs literally happen right here, and it's back to back to back. It's this one, and then the very next song we get is the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh man, just a killer song. Like you can see. It kind of doesn't matter how you feel about the musical itself and the connective tissue between the songs, because boy, most of the songs are just straight bangers. Like they're all really great.
Like, I cannot give this its credit where it's due, because like I can't give it enough credit, I should say, because it's mixing theater songs, opera songs, metal songs, like synth songs. It mixes 15 different styles. Like, I'll get into a different song I absolutely despise later. But this is the epitome of a title song for a title of the play.
Yeah.
That is just executed so perfectly, and it's so original in everything it does. And yes, there has been stealing things backwards and forwards, whatever. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Like it is such a good song. The way it mixes it reminds me of like Michael Jackson or Muse. How like it blends genres so effectively,
and has that like operatic,
a brand new thing.
Big, like the big feeling, like the big epicness of kind of those sort of works. Yeah. And then like you can't talk about this song without talking about the high note at the end. It's just like, oh, it's still going higher. Whoops, going higher. Oh God, please don't hurt yourself. How is that possible?
No more, please.
Right.
No more.
And that just like, oh God.
There was a comedian I can't even remember who it was, but he made a really funny joke, which was like, so he was at like a karaoke party, and some dude like hit a song that had a high note, and he started the song too high. So by the time he got to that high note, he'd have to go up like 5 octaves.
Right.
And when he got to it, he pointed the microphone at the crowd and got them to try and sing the high note.
Right.
It's like, that would be me in this instance. Would be
Right.
like, I ain't doing this last note. You guys can do it.
That's me saying take on me, where I'm like, not hitting this one. Here you go. Yeah, but it's interesting to finish out the song like that with him like yelling, sing at her the whole time, and like him kind of like wrapping himself physically around her in like a really possessive way. I thought that was really horribly creepy and interesting at the same time. Yeah.
And then of course she goes to sleep in the bed after crossing on the boat of dreams or whatever the hell it is.
So I forgot about that. Because in this version, I think it's really interesting how they do that, where they use the upper scaffolding catwalks and they kind of descend above the stage back and forth to show that they're going under the opera house to his kind of like underground lake lair thing. I didn't even notice it until I watched it back after reading some trivia, that the first time they cross, it's the two actors, and the second time they cross, it's the understudies, and then when they come back, it's the two actors again. So I thought that was a nice little... I like when there's like practical stage magic like that, of just like, here, and the other two, do, you know, like, I think that's a neat little touch.
Yeah, and she falls asleep, and then she wakes up to one of probably my favorite song. I'm not gonna lie. I've always adored this song. It's Music of the Night. It's
another killer.
It's so good. And thematically, it speaks to me as a night person. It speaks to me as someone who's always been a little darker than most other people. It speaks to me on so many different levels. It took me wrong. I'm not going to guillotine you, just so you know.
I appreciate that.
Or rather, I'm not going to lasso you, I should say.
Dude, he kills like 3 people in this show. Just like flat out, like, I'm a pretty good guy. Anyways, I killed this guy because he was talking yang about me. Just like, wait, what? I'm a nice guy, Christine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Can't you see all of the things I'm doing for you? I taught you to sing. I killed this person. I sent the diva on her way. Like, all of this stuff I'm doing.
Right. Man.
But yeah, Music of the Night is... It's my favorite song from this whole thing, and it's great because it's soft and powerful at the same time.
Yeah,
the fluctuations in the delivery, it's like softly, gently, and then it goes all the way up to the really powerful bits, like towards the middle and then back down again towards the end. Music of the Night is an incredible song. It also helps that I've heard Paul Potts sing that, and he is an incredible voice.
I mean, I was talking to my wife about this performance because she hasn't seen the Royal Albert Hall performance. And every once in a while, everyone has this experience where they watch something, where they listen to something that's like a stone cold classic, where it's like, man, if you don't like this thing, I don't know what you're doing. And watching this and hitting those 3 songs back to back, like the most famous songs, I'm just like, man... This obviously is like one of the most famous kind of musical soundtracks of all time. And yeah, I really see it. We're not even in Act 2. And you're just like, you're putting out one hot jam after another. Like, it's an incredible soundtrack from front to back.
Yeah, I will admit, for me, the songs go downhill a bit from here. There's only one I will always forget is a Phantom song. And then when it shows up, I'm like, oh, I love this song.
I wonder if that's one of my favorites from later, but I think
it might be based on what it is and how it's delivered and performed.
Yeah.
I think it might be one of your favorites.
I do have to say, we talked in the first part about like which songs do you know. So far, the overture, obviously, and then like these 3 songs are kind of like the Phantom songs. So when those came on, I was sort of like, oh yeah, all right, it's Phantom, yeah, sure.
You're like, I know all of these songs.
Yeah, I got all these ones. Don't even worry about it.
Then it gets to the letter scene.
I like what I like in musicals. This this musical falls prey to it pretty badly later on. I don't like musicals that have 4 or 5 people singing different parts at each other all at once. I like what some of the letter stuff does with we're talking about the 2 managers, right?
Yes.
I like that where they're rapidly singing back to back and next to each other and complimenting each other. I like that stuff a lot. I like this, how it's like very rapidly going back from one to another, and I thought this letter stuff was really good.
I love the letter stuff. I love the writing. I love the dialogue. I love the performance. I despise the song.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why, and you could actually probably help me with this based on your repeated viewings,
okay,
is because this has the exact same cadence as a Les Mis song for the same purpose. It's either, I can't remember if it's Lovely Ladies or Master of the House, where it's that's
very much Lovely Ladies and Master of the House are like very much the same song, but yeah, it's very much that same genre, I guess, the kind of subgenre.
It's the comedy side, so all of the instruments are like twingy and twangy and funny, and it's just like, we watched Les Mis. Like, I don't need the same song in this. You just hit me with 3 of the best songs of the thing, and then you're gonna hit me with a derivative of Lovely Ladies. Like, really? Come on.
It's interesting because I had the same kind of thought. So I don't know if it's we don't know that much about musicals in general. So I'm not sure if this is kind of
tropish, or is it just
that's what I was gonna say. Like, is this a comedy side character trope sort of thing? Like, is this a traditional musical kind of delivery for characters that you're not supposed to take serious? Yeah, like, is this the music that you get for characters you're not supposed to take seriously or something? Like, so I had that same thought. It's a pretty good, it's a pretty okay song. I like the rapid back and forth, but that's kind of not great otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, maybe someone who knows musicals can better advise us. Like, is this essentially just hearing their in a cartoon,
exactly,
like hearing the sad trombone
the slide whistle? These 2 dummies, boo! Yeah. So Phantom brings Christine back to the opera. The chief stagehand, who I really like the actor in this one, like he has that kind of hard-working kind of weariness to him. Yes, Moon, with your hand up.
Sorry, I have to just throw in a quick note here. During the Lovely Ladies rip-off song, whatever you want to call it, I don't know the name of the song, so I can't call it.
It says here that it's called Notes.
Okay, so during Notes, they're talking about the situation as a whole and the demands, and for the next play, the Christine's going to be the lead, and the previous diva lady is going to be
the prima donna has to go.
Yeah, she's going to be the stagehand. I think they do this whole prima donna song right after that too.
I think so. But
during that song, I think it is, they have this great thing where the 2 managers are talking about everything that's going on, and they're like, this never happens in real life, but you'll get away with it in a play, which I really like. Is just like a fourth wall breaking,
a little wink of just like,
and it's like, oh, okay, I get you.
Yeah. So right after
you were talking about,
stagehand gets warned earlier because he's gonna get you with his lasso and his laser eyes, or whatever he says. It's a big tale about I've seen him. He'll kill you with a look and stuff like that.
And he scares the dancers,
right? And then the Madame Giry comes in and be like, "Hey man, I've been around long enough to say maybe shut your mouth for real, dude." So after we get the prima donna stuff, this is where Carlotta comes out to do Hannibal rehearsals, because they're still rehearsing Hannibal, and this is where Phantom messes with Carlotta, the prima donna's voice, and makes her voice kind of crack and croak. And
you're a toad.
Yes, you're a toad, which is great.
The delivery on the noises is so good. Like, my credit to this actress for going.
She's really
from
good.
Like singing to just go.
Like whatever noise she made is just perfect. Of like, there's no mistaking that for any sort of music. That something is clearly wrong. And then one of the managers is like, "Hey, anyway, she's gonna take a break. Anyways, Christine, come out. Let's come out here and do it. Let's do the thing."
And in the meantime, it's ballet from later in the play. Please don't ask for refunds. Ballet dancers.
Yeah, I like him like flipping through and like Act 3. Let's do it. Everyone, come out.
Yeah, and this is the moment where he's like maestro, and he looks up to the actual orchestra with the actual conductor who played the correct song for the new bit.
It's really good.
That is a really nice moment. I will say, this is recorded a live stage theater recording. I do not like the editing in the recording, because there's sometimes where it's like there's a slow reveal of the Phantom and the camera just cuts to a close up of like the stage props.
Right.
And then the Phantom pops up. It's like, no, that's a slow reveal.
You're supposed to like, that's one of the times you have a shot of like the large overall stage and then let one of the actors kind of call it out or let it happen, and then you zoom into him. Yeah, there's a couple of cuts here and there that's a little bit weird. Where
questionable
it's like,
choices.
Yeah, it's like, I get what you're doing, but like you kind of want the reveal to happen. And this reveal certainly happens where, yo, that dude's just dead. He got hung on the lasso, and sorry, man, you talked some mess about the OG, you get hung.
And this is a guy who self-admittedly was not at his post earlier. Like, come on, dude.
Right.
Like, please.
Yeah.
He kind of had it come. No, he didn't have it come. The Phantom is a villain. Let's just get that out the way.
But I do like them using the upper rafters though on those catwalks again in this, where Phantom is kind of stalking that dude while they're doing the play in a play and the bottom.
But again, like, yeah, they're doing like the ballerina stuff at the bottom. Don't zoom to the top.
Right, just show the whole thing. Lights are on the two of them.
We can see what's happening. Like, we're not stupid. You don't have to literally crash cut to a zoomed in shot for them.
You want someone next to you in the seat bumping you with their elbow and being like, the Phantom is up there. It's the don't tell him. So yeah, that was interesting. But that sort of ends the play in the performance for fairly obvious reasons. Christina will flee to the roof.
They're going to run away, but then they don't run away. Like,
yeah, she's like takes him to the roof to tell him about the Phantom and how the Phantom took her to his lair, and she didn't want to do it in the opera house because she knew the Phantom would overhear. And then sort of says like, all right, I guess I sort of believe you, sure. So I'll kind of believe you for now. And this is when they sing All I Ask of You, which I feel like I have half heard before. It's another one that I think is semi-famous.
Yes, and it's also fine. Like,
it's okay.
Not to be derogatory. It's a decent song. I like when it's called back later a lot more.
Yeah, especially here at the end of Act 1, because like the next thing that happens is he uses the Phantom uses that song as his kind of revenge on the crew, saying like, look, I've made my demands clear. I have told you that you need to just follow my stuff and everything will be fine. Like, that's all I've asked of you. And now I'm gonna, what does he say? Like, there's some catastrophe beyond your wildest somethings.
Yes, which is basically him blowing up the chandelier.
Right. In this version, he blows up the chandelier on the ceiling because there's not enough room to crash it into the stage, like in other performances, which watched a bunch of other performances, and boy, that chandelier comes awfully close to the crowd and the orchestra, which is always concerning.
You gotta think that's when they have like Hollywood like stunts and set designers on stage, and they're like, okay, if you build it this way, when you drop it, it will crash this way. Physics tells us this.
Right. I did also. So this is the end of Act 1. This is obviously like the big event. Like there's two big events in this musical. The one is the chandelier kind of flickering and sputtering to life with new electrical wiring in it at the very beginning with the overture, and kind of ascending into the upper parts of the actual theater that you're in, not the theater that the actors are in on the stage. And then of course when it swings in, I was kind of surprised by the Phantom of the Opera official YouTube channel just having like most of the Gerard Butler movie on there in clip form. So I watched the...
Really?
Yeah, they're just like, hey man, we're just gonna put every song in here and like every big part. So I watched a bunch of that movie on YouTube. I thought the way that they handled the chandelier crash in that film was pretty interesting. It felt... The chandelier felt heavier and kind of more menacing than it did in some of the other versions, which I thought was kind of an interesting take on it. It's a cool thing. I could see how, especially if you went into Phantom not knowing anything about it, this is a spectacle.
I would die of a heart attack, dude.
Yeah, like this is an event. Like you can see because of these big kind of set pieces why this was such an impactful musical overall. So we start Act 2. 6 months later, they're having a masquerade wink ball, where they're yeah.
This is the song.
Yeah, this is when they started singing Masquerade. I was like, oh, that's where it's from. Okay, cool. I like this song. Yeah, Masquerade, great. So this is, there's a lot in here I like at the beginning of Act 2. I like that they're just like, hey, the Phantom's gone. It's been 6 months. He surely can't be back.
Nothing.
Yeah, no worry. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's dead. Who cares? Anyways, we're having a party.
Yeah, we're having a masquerade ball. The Phantom isn't good. The Phantom has been gone for a while. This is all fine. Everything is good. Yeah,
and Christine and Raoul have gotten secretly engaged in the intervening time, I really like. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff I really like during Masquerade. Number one, seems like there's like 400 people on stage, and they're all in step with each other, which is really impressive.
Choreography is amazing.
Yeah, really, really impressive. I don't like the choreography of the Gerard Butler movie. There's too much snapping too quickly. I think they take it to too much of an extreme.
Yeah, but I do like the ballerina dressed up as the monkey, by the way.
Yes, that's a really good. It took me a minute to figure out why is there? Oh, right, it's the monkey from that plays Masquerade from the rest of it. Right. So I like that. I like everybody dancing. I think the song is really great. This Masquerade is like one of those musical songs that I just really like. You get like 70 people on stage to sing at the same time, and I'm like, yep, it's great. It's the best thing ever. Best song. 10 out of 10. Love it. There's a moment that I specifically really like. Oh, go ahead.
It's a power start as well for Act 2. Like, I didn't even think about that until we're talking right now. This is the first thing you're hit with right after the intermission.
Yep.
Like, is this song. Yeah. And it's a really good choice for that, for getting you right back into the spirit of it right after like a 15-20 minute intermission or whatever. I didn't even click in my head until we were talking about it right now.
Right, this is like the statement of Act 2. Yeah,
it's side 2 track 1. Like it's that like
exactly.
Taking a break now, time to get going again.
And in this performance, there's something that I really, really, really like that I'm wondering how many people saw. It is front and center, but the editing on this version is a little weird. That when everybody...
This is another song where I don't like the editing. Like, it's too... Like, the movie, it's too chop. It's like, no! There's just show the people there.
Yeah, just show them dancing. Like, that's the impressive part. But when... As the first notes of Phantom's music comes, everybody has their hands up and everybody leans down to do the choreography and then comes back up. But as soon as those notes come, Christine is frozen there at the beginning of stage with her hands up, and she doesn't move at all until the music fully fades from one to the other. I think that's such a cool moment.
It's a subtle little thing.
Yeah, it's a little thing of just like, she's fully under whatever influence he has, as horrible as that is. And like, as soon as she hears that music, like, she's just powerless against him, which is horrible. But, and then here he comes as Red Death, as the...
I like the fact that he wears a skull mask, because they do refer to his white mask as the Death Mask.
Yes.
And I like the fact that he shows up as Death.
Yep. And he's looming in the LED screens there for a little bit too before he comes out. He has disappeared for 6 months writing an opera called Don Juan Triumphant. And of course...
Which you gotta think is a comedy.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah, it's probably the funniest thing. You couldn't make Don Juan Triumphant today, that's for sure. But he of course has written it for, oh my God, what's her name? Charlotte? God, Christine. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with my brain? I'm mystified by the mask. You better put on this opera, or else who knows what'll happen. I'll kill you all. And he sings a little bit, and I like his constant use of the word monsieur in this song, of like, why is everyone running away? What's so wrong? You thought I left? Weird. So everybody freaks out, and this is where Raoul confronts Madame Giry and is like, hey man, do you know about Phantom? She's like, no. Are you the cops? I'm not. You gotta tell me if you're a cop. I'm not. No, I'm not. And he's like, come on, man. Like, you gotta know something. You've been here forever.
It's like, have you got a court order? Is more what it's like. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Do you have a warrant?
Yeah, you got a warrant for that info.
Witness.
And somehow him saying that she's been there forever works on her. And she said like, oh yeah, someone went to like a circus. And there was like this horribly disfigured, like, weird child prodigy. And he was like a magician and an architect, and he knew how to do everything. Anyways, it can't be him, right? See ya. It's just like, okay. I do like that we don't get a name or like a full backstory or anything. It's just like, no, here's this disfigured...
Don't know how he gets his scars.
Right. Here's this like disfigured creepy jerk who really likes this lady. Anyway, he's gonna kill you all. Bye.
Also previously had a relationship with her father, I believe. I think in one of the movies he references the fact that he loved her father's violin playing, which makes it even worse.
It's really bad, man. Yeah.
So this performance, honestly, the thing as a whole, I think, and I'm now gonna call this Les Mis syndrome. Okay. I think this suffers from Les Mis syndrome, which is the first half is a banger, and then the second half is kind of a downswing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I agree with you. I'm trying to find where the next song I knew was. Okay, it's later. It's okay, but like we get a new version of Notes where Christine is like, "Hey man, like I can't do this. We should just all leave. Like I don't know what we're doing here. I'm not gonna go back to Creepy McCreeperson down there and like just so you can sell more tickets."
Guy
like,
Raoul.
Yeah, like what do you?
Nice guy Raoul wants to use her as bait. It's like, come on.
Right, like what is wrong with all of you? And she's genuinely terrified. And so I think that's okay. We get Christine going to her father's grave and singing "Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again," which is, I think, a song that's not really that great.
Followed by "Wandering Child," which is a song that's not that great.
Yeah, I don't think that's that great either. I get it, and I think they're kind of interesting scenes, but I don't think they really. Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again, like, makes the whole thing way creepier. That it's just like, man, Dad, I wish you were here. You told me there was gonna be an angel in music, and he's the worst. But I guess I gotta go do this thing. It's like, no, what? Get out! Go! Get out! Like, what are you doing?
Everyone should maybe abandon the theater a little bit, you know?
Yeah, like, just get on out of there, man. So this is where we get to the point where Don Juan Triumphant is going to get its premiere, and the armed guards are there. I like how
lock the doors.
I really like that sequence. It's probably kind of one of the highlights here of the second act. That has to be a really cool thing in the theater itself, kind of hearing all that stuff happening around you. And then we get the duet between Christine and Piangi. Right, quote unquote. With a little bit of sleight of hand, as the viewer, pretty obviously is the Phantom. So we get the Don Juan Triumphant, and then the song that I actually didn't realize I knew was "The Point of No Return," which is a song I actually really like. And this is the kind of Christine and Phantom getting down with it sort of song.
Song.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's probably that's the last song I know here in the movie. But I like that one a lot, and I kind of like
it might be the last song of the movie.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the other ones are either really short or kind of reprises. But I really like that one. I really like this scene. The woman who plays Christine, I think, does really well in the scene overall. And I think I kind of wish there was a different way they could have leaned into it, but the guy that plays Phantom has, like, he's trying to show that his hands are disfigured in some sort of way, but I don't think they sell it super well. So when he's, like, lifting up his hands and he's holding them in a different way than, like, the Pelagi, whatever that guy's name is. I feel like maybe either it was the editing on this or something, it kind of didn't sell it, which I think was kind of a bummer. But I like that song a whole lot. And then she, like, unmasks him. Well, she takes off, like, the black cloak, and then she pulls off his mask, and then he goes, "How dare you!" and then steals her down to his underground lake lair thing, his, like, creeper den. And then as they're leaving, he goes, "Oh, by the way, somehow at the same time, I killed Piangi." It's just like, well, I swear, why? What's wrong with you?
Because the door's open and he's hanging in the background.
Right.
And then everyone's trying to run away. But the doors are locked.
Right. Right. And Piangi's just swinging in the wind there. This is so, like, you get the classic angry mob. Everyone's like, "Let's go get him," and Madame Giry says, "All right, he's down. Get in this boat. You can get him. Like, hold your hand up in front of your face." So you don't see his face. Maybe I don't know. He's not, like, that disfigured. But
do you not know the why?
No,
they do say why.
Oh, maybe I missed it.
It's hold your hands at the level of your eyes. Because he's an expert in using I apologize, Punjabi lasso to kill people. So if someone was going to hang you, you hold your hands to the level of your eyes because the rope can't go around your neck because your wrists are in the way.
That's right.
That's why they make that reference while he's actually in the lasso and he says, "Hold your hands above your eyes."
Yeah, okay. I must have missed that, yeah. So they go and Phantom somehow has a wedding dress. Oh God. And he's just like,
a guy gets paid 20,000 francs a month. He can get whatever he wants to.
That's true. He'll have someone bring him a dress around. No one's gonna ask questions of that much money.
What's French for DoorDash?
That's right. And she basically says like, look, I'm not afraid of how you look. You're just a real jerk, dude. It's like the intro to the Social Network. You know, it's like people aren't gonna be afraid of you. It's just they know that you're an a-hole.
Yeah.
And
my notes again.
Yeah.
Nice guy Phantom strikes again.
Yeah.
He's using the marry me or he dies bargain.
That's right. Yeah, and like Raoul comes down and he gets lassoed and he's just like everybody's singing at the same time, which is the thing that I'm kind of not crazy about. And I hate everything about the ending of this movie. She like gives him a smooch. She gives the Phantom a smooch. She'll be like, "Yeah, cool," and he like breaks down.
And a hug.
And a hug. Yeah. He breaks down because it's like the first nice thing anybody has done for him in his life, and then he's just like, "Whatever, take him, get out of here, take the boat, go on." He white fangs her, "Go on, get."
Never tell me of this secret. Never tell anybody of this secret that you know. It's like, what secret? Everybody knows.
Yeah, everyone's coming, man. That's what the drums are. Like, that's what do you think is happening here? I do like that like slow reveal of the drums coming as the crowd comes. That kind of quiet moment before the angry mob gets there, and then the Phantom sits on his like throne thing and puts the cloak over himself, and then as the lead dancer Meg comes, she pulls away the thing, and then she finds just the Phantom's mask, and that's the end. And because we are watching the 25th anniversary, Andrew Lloyd Webber comes out after all of the bows and the thank yous and everything.
60-minute speech, it feels like.
He does, and then they do the thing that I really liked that so talk about Les Mis here for a second. Watch the staged performance.
Shocker.
I know.
You want to talk about Les Mis? Who would have thought?
Go watch the staged performance of Les Mis. That's what it's called. It is the Les Mis version of this. So it is the who's who of Les Mis performers performing that musical. They do a very similar thing at the end of this. I'm sure we could watch any of these and they'll do the same thing at the end of this, but Les Mis, they sing like One More Day with like 100 people on stage and the entire crowd. It's really great. But in this one, they kind of bring they bring Sarah Brightman out, who was like the original Christine, and then they bring the Phantoms throughout the ages out to sing, and they do the music of the night
and the world, by the way.
Right? Yeah, which I thought that was actually really cool because like it's just kind of a cool thing to celebrate like the 25th anniversary, saying like here are all of the most famous Phantoms. They're all going to sing back and forth and with her, and they're going to do this whole kind of thing. And I thought that was neat. I think that's a cool little coda on the end of that.
Yeah, they do Angel of the Night and then Angel of Music and then Music of the Night.
Yeah.
It's really solid. I really like it.
It's cool.
Now, before we talk about this
in
performance
total
as a whole,
right?
So you said, ironically, you've seen a whole bunch of clips from the 2004 Gerard Butler movie. He's fine. He can actually sing. I did not know that until I saw that movie.
Well, and part of what I think is interesting is I like that there's a different take on it, that his version of the Phantom isn't this like operatic, perfectly trained guy. He's just like, I'm a dude that loves music, and I can sing pretty well. I'm going to kidnap you. Yay, weird stuff.
Phantom. Yeah. So we need to talk about the alternate timeline that we don't get to live in, unfortunately.
Okay.
Anne Hathaway was originally cast to be Christine in that movie.
Oh, that would have been wild. I like Anne Hathaway.
But she was unfortunately had scheduling conflicts with Princess Diaries 2, I believe it was. So she
Oh,
was
interesting.
unable
Okay.
to perform. So young Anne Hathaway is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like,
both of those Princess Diaries movies are good if anyone hasn't seen them.
and the real bummer is Hugh Jackman was originally cast as the
Oh,
Phantom,
man. That would have been
but
perfect.
he had scheduling conflicts because of Van Helsing.
Oh, oh, Hugh Jackman. I love Van Helsing because it's like the campiest thing ever,
It's a
but
bad movie.
you,
Yeah,
you made
but
you made the wrong
it's a great
choice.
bad movie.
Yeah, you made the wrong choice there,
Like,
Hugh.
like the movie version of Les Mis is held up really highly for good reasons,
Mm-hmm.
minus Russell Crowe's singing ability. However,
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine a Phantom with Hugh Jackman as the Phantom
Man.
and Anne Hathaway as Christine? And by the way, in that movie, the person who plays Christine's father is the guy who plays the Phantom in this performance.
Oh, wild. That's crazy.
So he has actually played Raoul the Phantom and her father, Christine's three great loves.
Whatever you need in this performance, I can do it. I've done it all. That's great. So yeah,
What could have been, Boston? What could have been?
What could have been?
Why?
We could have had it. Yeah. So I think this one's really tough because I think I am of two minds with Phantom. I think nearly every piece of music, whether it's orchestrated or sung or both, I think is really great. I think you got the kind of tentpole songs, like you said, they're kind of front loaded in this, but there's a couple good ones in Act 2, but less good than great. But the rest of it I kind of didn't like.
I hate the fact that they try and redeem the Phantom.
Yeah, to me he needs to be the villain. Yeah.
It's all he is he is the villain. He should not be treated to any form of redemption. Like, don't get me wrong, especially when the short story was written and when this is set and everything else. I get it. Someone with a disfigurement at that time would have been treated poorly and might have led them to behave like this.
Sure.
You do not get to redeem someone who has been that damaged by society. It's society's fault.
Right. He's only killed like 3 people. What are we freaking out about? Like it's a real bummer. I really like the soundtrack. I really like the songs, and I kind of really don't like the rest of it. And largely because I think the Phantom is a good villain, and I like that he is genuinely haunting this performance troupe through like his like disembodied voice being around the theater was really great, and I think him being in the LED screens every once in a while was really cool, and he makes a big spectacle of coming back at the beginning of Act 2, and I think that's he meets them in person for the first time. Like, there's some really cool stuff in there. But him like hypnotizing Christine and teaching her to how to sing and just being like the creeperiest creeper, I'm not sure if it has not aged well. I'm sure, and I'm sure if you were a fan of it in the 80s and 90s, I'm sure it has aged better, but it just kind of left me feeling kind of icky about the whole thing, to put a real professional word on the feeling. It just kind of
well, they try and redeem someone who to all extents is irredeemable. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, not everybody can be, you know, Jean Valjean or the guy from who Russell Crowe plays or whatever his name is. Like, not every person can be redeemed. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. And it's like, if you take out the end with the second kidnapping, for the record.
Yes.
And hardcore gaslighting and everything else that's going on here. Like, if you take that section out and maybe have have this the part where I'm armchair booking, to use a wrestling term here. Have the bit where the plan goes awry and the guy, the Italian singer gentleman Pietro or whatever, Mario, he dies. And then maybe something happens and the theater collapses with the Phantom inside. That's fine. Don't try and tell me, oh, he's a good soul all along. Like, no. Some people don't get to be redeemed.
And I think for me, my biggest sticking point at the end is that she kisses him. Like, even if she showed him some level of human sympathy for the first time, saying, like, look, I get that life has been horrible to you, people are terrible, but it's
just do the hug.
It's not because of how you look, it's because of how you're acting. That's still a level of sympathy that this person has never gotten. You don't have to do the kiss. And I think part of it is a little bit rough because of the nature of the close-ups on the prosthetics of the actor that's playing the Phantom. It looks really good. It's pretty cool. Except if you get really close on it, because it's not meant to be looked at that close. It's meant to be seen at the cheap seats. Like, you know, there's a level of... Also, that dude has to have a really hard job singing in that, like, mask over a rubber mask over his face. Like, that's a tough job, man.
Apparently, it took 30 minutes to put that on.
Oh, wild.
Gerard Butler's took, like, 2.5 hours.
Oh, jeez. Man.
But it does look like they've done pretty solid with the technology for that, because it doesn't look like he's ever struggling. Like, it doesn't ever look like he's in trouble with the prosthetics. It looks like they've done a pretty solid job of, like, keeping it all relatively intact and in shape for it.
And I think when they do the, like, 25th anniversary stuff afterwards, he doesn't go backstage and rip it off immediately and then come back. Like, he's still coming out wearing the Phantom mask and everything. So it's yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I'm sure it's not the hottest take to say, like, yeah, the songs are good, but I kind of didn't care for the rest of it. To be clear, every single actor on that stage was incredible. They did I don't think there was anyone on stage where I'm like, ooh, you should not be in this performance at all. Unless they were supposed to be playing badly, like the Pelagi guy was supposed to be a bad singer and a bad actor, and he did a great job at it. The whole beginning part
Rome.
That's Rome. Like, that part was pretty great. But I just think for me, like, the content of it is, but, you know, the soundtrack, I'll listen to that all day.
It's the lesson. Like, what's the lesson to be learned from here? Like, one of the reasons I love Les Mis so much is because the lesson learned is like, yes, you can still do good. You can still be good. You can make a difference in people's lives no matter who and what you are.
Right.
Like,
and then you go to French Heaven where you wave the flag.
Yes, you wave a flag and everybody sings with you.
Right.
The lesson here is what? Murder 3 people and you'll be fine if you sacrifice yourself? Like, go away.
Yeah, it's weird.
For the record.
Yeah.
We are never doing the sequel. Love Never Dies is what that's called, by the way.
I had no idea there was one. I will forget that immediately. I don't need to know that. The Godfather 3 doesn't exist. Like, nope, I don't need to know.
It's set in New York.
Oh, God.
So, before the sequel was announced or anything like that, it's apparently atrocious, by the way. People have been mixed reviewing it for years.
Right.
I think it was on Broadway for like 17 months. That should give you an idea. In the film, really good moment in the film, which at the end of the movie, it shows Christine's grave and it shows a red rose, which is probably placed there by the Phantom, who somehow outlived this person who she knew her dad and everything else.
Who was younger than him, yeah.
And I do like the fact that it kind of loops back, because the start of the movie is Raoul buying memorabilia from the theater where he met his assumedly future wife.
Right.
Like, that's a nice little touch. It's like, yeah, just like she said, it's the little cymbal dancing monkey who plays Masquerade. Like, that's a nice start. Like, it's a good bookend. But yeah, Love Never Dies is a hilarious sequel name for Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, that's really bad. I was just looking it up, and yep, Andrew Lloyd Webber did it. Yikes. Goodness. Oof. Yeah. What are your kind of final thoughts here for this version of Phantom?
Honestly, similar to the movie version. I will say minus the production issues, like we've said about the camera cuts and stuff like that, the audio on this was fantastic. It's one of the things I don't like about live music is when the audio is crackled and fuzzy and everything else, because the microphones just are not good enough to... Generally, the microphones broadcast through speakers or whatever, and it's not captured at the middle point. It's captured at the end.
Well, and I meant to mention this, but they also do a thing where they do a really subtle thing where every once in a while they'll switch whichever actor is going to be kind of in the foreground in the mix. So sometimes Madame Giry will be louder than someone else, sometimes Christine will be. So you kind of get a mix of hearing the individual actors singing their parts, which I thought was done really well. I agree with you. The mixing was great.
And you got to think that they're still... That theater is not speak it up. So they're still going to be singing at full volume for the cheap seats.
Yep. They're still projecting.
The quality of those microphones must have been insane.
Yeah.
Can I get one of those for podcasting, please?
That's right. Yeah, I want one of those little Madonna microphones for us. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was good. Like the sound was incredible. The performances, like you said, were fantastic. No one really did a bad job at all.
Yep.
I think, like you said, the music is great, the sound is great, the acting is fantastic, the content with a capital C is
that's where it gets squiffy
in this.
Yeah. Yeah. But definitely one of those where I watch it and I'm like, yeah, I get why it's a classic. Like I totally understand. I will agree from kind of a soundtrack standpoint, but maybe not from a content standpoint, which might be the point. Someone out there might be screaming at their podcatcher and be like, "That's the point," and it might be, but you know, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. If that's the point, then we enjoyed the point of the movie.
Right? Yeah. I guess that's the best way of putting it. So. Yeah, this was a cool version. I want to watch the 2004 Gerard Butler one in total at some point, because that seems like it's kind of a cool big production. Probably won't go back to watch any of the other versions, because there's one stretching back to like the 1920s and stuff. Like there's 100 different versions, as we talked about.
Are you not going to watch the Robert Englund horror version?
No, I mean maybe that sounds okay.
I think he literally has him on the box and is like, he was Freddy, now he's the Phantom of the Opera, by the way.
Oh boy, that would be something. Goodness. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you next time. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, hold on. I forgot. I keep forgetting, because it's not like a movie, so I keep forgetting to talk about our ratings here. IMDb has this of almost 10,000 people have rated it an 8.8 out of 10. And 270 people on Letterboxd have rated it a 4.3 out of 5. So right there.
That's about the same-ish.
Yeah, kind of in line with both of them.
I could see it.
Like, it feels about what I would expect.
Yeah, for me, I would expect it. For me, it's like 7 and an 8, because you can't get away from Nice Guy Phantom. Like, he's just like right there, offering you rides to work and everything else, just so you can hopefully get in your pants at some point.
The OG Nice Guy Phantom. Yeah, I would probably agree with you that it's there. Like the production is really great, the soundtrack is really great, the chandelier is really great, but yeah, the content is it's Phantom. For better or for worse.
If you do decide to watch the 04 version, by the way, have fun with the Scouse accent.
Oh, I love a good Scouse accent. Can't go wrong. Put it in everything. Oh, man. Okay. I think that should be it. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
That is it now.
That's right. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.